Well, I mean, you need to find a way to win home games, and happy for our guys. Thought we got contributions from a number of guys, and guys were really able to respond. You get in a situation where at the 12-minute mark you're down eight, and you have to call a timeout and remind the guys like we're here to hit singles. We're not here to hit homers, even after their back-to-back threes by Tyrese Hunter, and then number seven over there in the left corner. And then you had another situation where you just have to remind players are going to make plays. We botched some coverages, and it turned around and cost you. But I thought again we were resilient. If you're able to rebound 40%, like the thing going into this game is we needed to be plus on the margin, and we were +9 on the rebound margin, and then we needed to take care of the ball. And only having 8 turnovers obviously handled the pressure much better than what we did at their place, given the fact that we had 22 there. So contributions from a lot of people, and then being able to convert at the free throw line at an 80% rate, especially when it matters, it's a tribute to our guys.
Down eight, they're in the bonus. I think with 13 minutes left as well. How would you describe what you saw from your team from that point on that helped you get this one?
Yeah, crazy, huh? We only have 3 fouls in the first half. Have to get an intentional to get number four, and then all of a sudden they're in the bonus to go. So we're top 25 in the country at not fouling, and so all of a sudden you don't foul in the first half. So I kept asking the officials, what do you think? I told them to start fouling at halftime. Like the game took a big shift. Now I don't know how much. We got to remember we had 13 offensive rebounds at that particular point, and I thought their aggressiveness, specifically Nick Jourdain on the glass, caused us to be in a lot of situations where we weren't defending without fouling. That wasn't the case in the first half. And so a lot of it just goes to credit for those guys keeping basketballs alive. But it was, again, you had to remind your guys, like, I mean, this happens. Runs are going to happen. We're gonna eventually go on ours, but we needed to stay aggressive. I mean, we're not going to outshoot anybody, as you can see by the 4 for 21 numbers. But I thought some of the threes that we took were good ones. But for the most part, we just need to stay within ourselves. So I thought there were some costly turnovers there that you have to remind your guys about. So again, I mean, it's been a resilient group all year.
How good was Bijan for you today? And what did you see something in the last couple of days that told you that he was gonna play a big role in this game?
Yeah, I haven't seen him. So I told him that he's not going to be required to practice anymore. He's been out with the flu the last 2 days. So I just told him, you just show up on game day and we'll play you. We had put in some new stuff and we showed it to him on film this morning at 8 a.m. and said, here's what we're doing. You could tell there was a lot of confusion in the first half, just given the fact that he hadn't practiced. But for the rest of the year, he'll just be required to show up at tip off, and we'll go from there. But happy for him. I think he's had 3 games in his career where he hadn't had a turnover. And this is a pretty big one, especially given the fact that, he had 4 of them in the last one, and then he had 6 last Sunday. So to be able to handle that pressure, I do think that we were able to give him a little bit more space than what he had on the last game versus UTSA. And he capitalized on it.
Hey, Paul, BJ Haggerty obviously came in here as a top 5 scorer in the country, an All-American candidate. He had, I think, one made field goal, right, in the first half, 2 points. What'd y'all do to kind of make him a complete non-factor for most of the night, most of the game?
Yeah, I mean, games like that happen. I don't know that you attribute it to anything that we necessarily did. I will tell you, I mean, there wasn't any special scheme or we didn't do anything. I do think Ronnie's a really good defensive player. And, I mean, if you look at a lot of the preseason magazines, there's a couple of them that have Ronnie DeGray as the defensive player of the year in this league. And not because of his ability to block shots, more so his ability, given his size and girth, to be able to stay in front of the ball. So I thought he did a good job. Again, you got to be in a situation with PJ to where you defend without fouling, just because his ability to go in there. I also thought that it's not just on one guy. There's other guys that got to restrict the floor, and you know it. I thought when we were matched up right that our Ronnie DeGray did a great job. But if you'll look, there's other people squeezing it as well, and thought those guys did a good job.
And with Colby Rogers, obviously a guy you coached last season and a guy that was teammates with a lot of your players, is there any extra motivation or fuel, seeing him
No, no, and I'm happy. I'm happy for Colby. He's a great kid. You know, you always ask yourself, did you do right by him? And I mean, he left here as the all-time three-point shooter, and so you're like, man, we did right by that kid. And again, I don't fault anybody if they want to find something different for them that they believe suits them. By all means, do it. And I'm happy for Colby. He's had a good year.
You talked a lot about, the last 5 minutes. Those are for the players. You got to make plays. The Bijan step back three. Down four with 35 seconds out, I think, in regulation. Just what did you see from your guys those last 5 minutes, and just what can you say about the players pulling that out?
Yeah, I mean, one, I mean, you look at the ability of Tyrese Hunter, and his ability to make plays late. I thought PJ obviously makes the left slot three there late when we try to go double team off of a baseline dribble. But I mean, told them like this is what players do. We're going to get the same opportunity, and we need to be able to cash out. For Bijan, he shot that same shot in the first half over Musa off of a switch, and he airballs. And you got to remind him, like, listen, we've got the switch, so he gets it again. We throw it inside, and we're able to get Quincy Ballard at the rim. And that one was a late shot clock, and he had missed a three off of the baseline OB over there on the right wing, on the right corner anyway. So you just felt like if he gets another opportunity, but that's a heck of a shot, especially given the length of the on-ball defender.
And it seems like this team's ceiling is raised when Bijan is playing a clean floor game. Just tell me about how important that is, especially with Justin out.
Yeah, I mean, we need him. I thought the other night we just didn't give those guys enough room in having the ability to get where they needed to go. And I give a lot of credit to Primo Spears. He's a really good on-ball defender. But we knew we were facing that tonight, given the fact who Tyrese Hunter is. Dante Harris is a heck of an on-ball defender. And we knew that we had to kind of give these guys a little bit more space. Little disappointing just how we handled some of the stuff at the rim, but again, you can't. Musa Cisse is really good and was able to, especially in overtime, to get some blocks. But I mean, we have to have that. But I thought again, Bijan does a great job just playing in space. So for the most part, I thought we were able to give him a little bit more room, and it's again that's on us as coaches to make sure that players have the space in order they need to make plays.
Defense, rebounding. I mean, that's been the formula during this winning streak.
Yeah.
Does it feel like this team is starting to form that identity?
Well, you have to, right? I mean, you're plus 20 last week at USF. You're plus 21 the other night. You're plus 9. I went through, some of the games that when Memphis has been in tight ones, the rebounding margin is a situation that you need to win if you want to win these kind of games. And we're plus 9. And again, the second half wasn't pretty. I mean, Nick Jourdain was just going in there untouched, and Musa as well. And they were just able to keep a lot of basketballs alive. But it's one of those things we need to learn from, and we need to get better. But really happy. I think we had 13 old boards there at the 16-minute mark. And knew that if we could just keep converting some opportunities and get shots around the rim, give us second chance, we would have a chance to convert those around the cup.
Coach, 54 boards, shots today, season high total. Would you?
Let's do the overtime. We got an extra 5 minutes.
Certainly, Scott. That being said, what do you kind of like from this group? Just that tenacity on the boards when some of those shots around the rim that normally fall for this team, weren't falling early on. Once in the second half too. What do you think that says about this team to just hit those second chance opportunities?
Yeah, I can't tell you how often. I mean, when you look at the metrics that we come in and show every day after a game, the first metric they see is rebounding. Like, did you go? And you need to be at an 80% rate. As I tell guys, if you're a plumber one day and you only do your job 80% of the time, you're going to be fired. So we're pretty lenient around here. So you need to be able to do your job defensively, offensively, whether you're a crasher or get back. and we chart that stuff. So we pay attention to it. The first thing they get told is Quincy AC stands up here and he tells the guys we rebound the ball. That's the title slide. And then we go through all the rebounds. What we did good, what we did bad. And I'll just tell you, I think it's a learning process. But, during the game where there's a whole bunch of havoc and things happening, sometimes guys forget. But I will tell you, having Corey, having Quincy, having Ronnie, it really ups our physicality. And again, we need to be good at that given who we are as a team.
Corey Washington already getting a double-double, after the first half. Did that lower the pressure at all, knowing that you have a guy who's making an impact in both different areas?
No, like, can you be Xavier McDaniel and be a 2020 guy? Like why settle? Like, I mean, if you're sitting around happy because you're ahead at halftime, no, baseball games don't stop in the seventh inning. Nobody gets medals for being ahead at halftime. Like, can you get 2020? So I just think that guys need to, like, I mean, if you're playing well, like, how well can we actually play? Let's see how good we can actually be. But, I knew after he struggled at the free throw line, and just knowing who Corey is, I mean, I'd have bet a lot of money that he was going to make those two free throws. He's just wired that way. He likes the competition. He likes the fact that I want to stick my nose in here and let's see if I can deliver. And he's a guy who's going to bet on himself. And I'm just telling you, I was betting on him. But, if you've got 10 and 10 at the half, let's find a way to get 20 and 20.
Paul, it seemed like something defensively for you guys changed after the first, 9 minutes or so, because Memphis was getting the ball inside to Dane Danger and Musa Cisse, and then all of a sudden you see the Tigers settling for just jumper after jumper. What changed there? Because you guys held, I think, 2 of 15 in the final 11 minutes of the first half.
Yeah, I mean, if you look, you have a Colby Rogers right corner three off of a dribble. So you're there, but when he dribbles, it's not inside the arc. That can't happen. Like, that's just too clean of a look for Colby. I thought Tyrese Hunter's look was clean. So I thought they were getting way too many clean looks, especially from their perimeter players. And I thought once we pushed up there, it kind of led them to take some non-paint twos. And if you can get them to take some non-paint twos, which is what every coach in the country is trying to do, right, is can you get guys to take non-paint twos? And then at the same time, we were, Musa's ability. We thought Quincy Ballard, we thought that was a good matchup, but we also didn't want Dane. I know he's a right-handed player, but when he gets to his left, he's pretty dangerous. We needed to do a real good job there. And so I just thought the level of intensity, and that's been our issue, to be honest with you, through several games this year, is we kind of just hold our finger up in the air and see which way the wind's blowing, and let's see if you're making shots. If so, we'll be more aggressive. We can't play that way. We need to make sure we're aggressive from the jump, and I didn't think we were. And fortunately, guys course corrected.
How do you coach a guy like Bijan who's had a lot of ups, a lot of downs, kind of a yo-yo? I mean, you're coming off 2 kind of poor performances. How do you try to empower a guy like that? And, you spend a lot of time around him. Just what's the challenge has been, and how gratifying is it to see a guy like that succeed in the end?
Yeah, one, I love this about, Bijan. I've told him before, never play poker because it's way too obvious on your face what it is. He's feast or famine. You knew the second he walks in practice, whether it looks like his puppy just died and he looks as sad as he can be, or he's just like, I just got my first kiss. And he's as excited as he could be. And you kind of got to get him through, like, the ups and downs, but you usually know who Bijan is. He goes 0 to 100 real quick. And I will tell you that's kind of manageable, but given the fact that he's older, he came in my office last year and he said, you know what, the one thing I realize is going through all of the issues that I've had over the course of my years, he said, maybe the issue is me. And I was like, good job, Sherlock, for figuring that one out. And it was like when you take ownership, he's done that. And so when he has bad games, he'll come in and make sure that he's watching the film and doing the things necessary. So, again, it's a tribute to him. There's a lot of, self-awareness is a heck of a drug, man. And there's a lot of self-awareness there that he's been able to obtain over the course of this last year and a half.
Coach, first ranked with shots in 4 years. Kind of what does this do in terms of, a launching pad, in terms of a building block of what you guys are building right now?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I mean it's a win. I think if you go about things like you're gonna let people put a number in front of you and say that's your value and you capitulate to it. I just think you're thinking about this the wrong way. Like nobody should assign you a number and think that you're above or below anybody else. Like are we doing what we're best at? We need to be process based. Because when you're process based, you're going to be results based. And so I know the results have not been what we want, but I can tell you that the process has been like every single day. And I just know that if you stay with the process and you're process oriented, you're eventually going to be results oriented. And you start getting that out of line and you start thinking one win is better than another, like you're going about this the wrong way. And so in my mind, it's a win, and I understand they're a really good team, but there is a way that you have to play in order to give yourself a chance night in and night out. So I'm happy that our guys have done that, but nobody's putting any special value on a win. I mean, you need to understand that if we play well, we can play with people in this league. If we don't play well, we can get beat by anybody in this league.
Coach, I was asking your players when they were here about kind of resiliency, and there are several teams that have had Memphis on the ropes in the AAC throughout the season. But when a run comes or when that Tyrese Hunter dunk happens, like that's kind of the breaking point. What was it about your group that with 38 seconds left, Tyrese Hunter dunks that ball, y'all are down 4, but it's not the breaking point, right? You guys are able to claw back and force overtime.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times they've seen where we're up to 51-49 at Memphis, and they go on a 12-0 run to end the game. That's been looped around here quite a bit, and it was oh board, turnover, and that's how it started. And how many times do you get a second opportunity to course correct something that you fell flat on your face on, and that happened. And so, well, again, I mean, we knew that we were going to have to bounce back. We did not bounce back there. I mean, to end the game on a 12-0 run, come on, man. That can't happen. And it's one of those situations where they've been shown that, they've been told that, they've been admonished. Like, this is the kind of thing that we need to make sure we show up for. And I thought our guys did that.
Anything else? All right.
Thank you, guys.